So yes, very good morning to you. I don't think you could have avoided it yesterday on Twitter, because yesterday I did speak to Kellie-Jay Keen, founder of Standing for Women, regarding the absence of the author J.K. Rowling from the upcoming Harry Potter reunion TV special. And to be honest, a lot of things about that have happened in the last 24 hours. So there are a few things probably that need to be said, and there are a few things that need to be discussed, and maybe there's some learning to be done. That having been said, when one listens to these discussions and these debates, if anybody thinks that I, or indeed others, don't understand the complexities and how toxic the discussion has become about women and women's rights, but then also about trans and trans issues, then we need to wake up. This is a very difficult area to have a conversation about. And frankly, when I went into the discussion, I was thinking, well, I don't really understand why J.K. Rowling, she's written all these books and they're not speaking to her. And to be honest, it's not something that I'd looked into that deeply. Of course, every single subject that we do research, we look into it, we think about it, I read things. But there are a lot of subjects covered in a 4-hour radio show. So I'm not necessarily going to go into every minutiae. And frankly, I've steered clear of this topic. And I've steered clear of this topic because I know how toxic it is. And most people do steer clear of it because they know how toxic it is. But when Kellie-Jay started to talk about things in the way that she did, I'm afraid I found a lot of what she said deeply uncomfortable. And I found it deeply uncomfortable because stereotypes and tropes that were used 20 years ago to describe gay people and to not allow them the human rights that thankfully we have in today's world, whether you go back to Section 28 or all the other things that we had, all those discussions about what you teach young people, how you teach them at school, or the fact that the predators and all this other stuff that went out, it was all being repeated, and I felt very uncomfortable about that. In addition, I feel very uncomfortable when people start to talk about something just with a broad brush, because we've seen how minorities are treated in society. We've seen what happens when minorities are treated badly, whether it's because of their religion or the way they live their lives or the fact that they are perhaps slightly different from the norm. And I know that lots of people have told me on Twitter that, we're speaking for the 51% and you're just a minority and what do you know, and you're a man and you're middle-aged and all the abuse and everything else. And it's become so toxic that we can't have a proper conversation about it. This is the home of free speech. And yesterday went away when I said, maybe you should be cancelled. It was more because that's what's happened to J.K. Rowling. That's what's happened to people within this debate. That's what's happened elsewhere. And we don't have proper conversations where there perhaps needs to be learning. So there we are. That's some of what I think about this, but not all.